rather than going from straight from here to here, taking all this, I do blend it a little bit here, but I will take this corner off. When you're using a stone around the eyes, be careful because the stone shed. You don't want to get pumice dust in their eyes. So if you want, you can also use the rubber fingers for this area if you're worried. I'm not. So I am taking my stone and I am taking a few hairs through here, but nothing where it's blatant from here to here. It is a blend. She doesn't grow a ton of beard, so I'm not going to touch that. If there were like long, crazy hairs, I'd pull them just like that, but there aren't. So. And then all this cheek hair, this can all go. Good girl. You have a good wiener dog. Yeah, good girl. Okay. So that looks pretty good. I do see a couple little whisker hairs here, so I'm gonna pull. They're not whiskers, they're the hairs around the whisker. So I pull all those, and then I see a little bit of hair here, so I'm gonna pull that. We want these guys to be really sharp, really smooth. They are supposed to look like smooths from a distance, but with with furnishings, with the mustache and beard, and with the eyebrows. So we should be going for a smooth dachshund look. Yeah, it's a good girl. What a good puppy. Okay, so same thing on the other side. About this corner of the eye to the corner of the mouth, but again, I blend. Oh, I'm frustrated, yawn. Good girl. I hope you can see. It's really hard to get an angle while I'm stripping because I'm alone. Just two little hairs. And then again, make sure you're stripping around the whiskers because you can often cut a couple hairs when you take the whisker off, and you want to make sure you pull those soft fuzzy hairs so they grow back nice and wiry. Okay, so that's what I like to see for a head, but because it's right before a show, or we're at a show, I don't want to make a bald spot between her eyes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my my wiener dog and pull them closer because you're silly. I'm gonna make sure there's no eye boogers. I'm gonna take a small pair of straights, take my comb this in front of her eye, comb this in front of her eye, and I'm gonna take that right off, just so you can see her pretty little eyes, because I don't want to create a hole. So next time I will strip this area, just so nothing grows back fuzzy, but you can see that really gives her a beautiful expression, where you can see her whole eye. Okay, now I don't strip the legs at a show. I will be stripping them till about 2 weeks before the show, and then I let them grow. So again, I'm following the styles I've seen in the ring that are a little bit newer. A lot of old school people that have been doing this for a number of years might be like, what are you doing? But this is what I've seen winning, so this is what I've been doing, and we've been winning too. So. Okay, now for the chest, the new style, especially with the standards, I'm not British, standards, is to leave a big crest of hair here. She, when she stands properly, has a decent chest, but I do accentuate it a little bit with a little bit of a crest. However, I let it grow way too long, and then it blew, so I had to strip it all off. So now she doesn't have her little crest anymore, but basically I'm leaving this little highway strip here, and I pull anything that's distracting from the front of the legs. Again, remembering our lines here. The armpits, I tend to scissor because I don't think it's very nice to pull that hair, and I find she mats under there, so she mats probably because I've been scissoring it, but I find even if it is wire, it tends to break underneath the armpits anyway, so whatever. Oh, right, so that's the chest. I would probably, yeah, it's a little in the in-between phase, so it looks a little silly, but it's not too bad. It just looks a little messy because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist about it. Okay, now the bum. So the bum, I don't think it's very nice to strip under the anus, so I trim her. If you can strip under your puppy's tail, you can, good for you. I personally don't. And this one really doesn't like her bum touched, so we're gonna go ahead and put the leash on her. Yeah, you like to sit, don't you? So any scissoring I do under the bum, I do with thinners. I'm just gonna take the hair just around her little anus here, just for cleanliness. And now, what I do is first I stone the cowlicks. Crystal, please. And this just helps so when you do scissor here, it helps keep most of the texture. And I mean, I've been doing this for a little while and I haven't had any problems with her coat texture changing. So, Crystal, please. Now, with her bum, stop please. She has a nice bum because she's from a breeder who produces very nice little puppy bums. Please, stop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show off her bum. So I'm going to take my thinners and just go and take these cowlicks nice and short. Again, making sure you run the stone over them. If your dog has an excess amount of undercoat, I would card this out too. And I wouldn't card anything right around here, especially if your dog has a sloping croup. I would leave most of this. But she has a nice croup, so I'm going to take a little bit. Just a smidge, like that's, if you look at the stone, that's all I took. So, it's really not a lot, especially, that's what I do like about the stones it shows, is you're not gonna get a ton done, but what you do end up stripping looks nice and neat and natural. Okay. All right, little doll. Okay, feet and legs. She has very nice feet. They're a teensy bit flat and a teensy bit easty-westy, like kind of like that. So what I do is I leave a little bit more hair here, and then when I spray it up, they look like little columns. So I'm not going to touch any of this little fuzz. I'm going to keep that, I need it. But I do trim underneath the pads. You can use a clipper if you want. It doesn't really matter. But you will want to take this little fuzzy hair because it gives them a little bit more traction. Then what I do is I brush the little foot up. Stop, please. And anything that sticks out or detracts, I pull off. But this foot looks very nice. There's nothing sticking up, nothing detracting. It's got a nice pretty round foot. Little kitty toes. So that's generally what I aim for in a foot. Is a nice small little cat foot. Her nails do stick out, and I did that on purpose. I trimmed her feet shorter so that, or tighter around the front nails so that her feet don't look flat. And they're not flat. They're just a little bit flatter. With the bum side, with the back legs, anything from here, the hock down, I will grow out a little bit longer than her body. When it comes to the front legs, it's that shoulder muscle. I use that as my guide, and that's where I blend. So that's what I want for a back foot too. Back foot I don't really have to do any trimming because I already did it because I didn't know I was going to make this video. Okay, so now that we got our pretty little wiener dog, I do see a little bit sticking out. Just here, so I'll take that off. My wires, I have a cool coat on them before they go in the ring. So like one of those coats that you get wet and then drape over them. And I just find that helps with these sticky outies, because if you got it eye level with the outline of the dog, you can see all the little hairs sticking up. So I put a flat coat on, and that really helps with that. These little hairs here for the show, I'm gonna trim them because they kind of distract from the outline. And then I'll walk her around and throw her back up on my table and see again what's sticking out. I don't trim this, I strip it. Even at a show, I won't trim that. Because if you do that, it tends to look quite obvious that you've scissored your dog, and we don't want these dogs to look scissored. Now, I said that I did make a hole here, so I don't want to pull anything off too much here. So we'll do that, and then just pull that up, because it is sticking out a little. Really? You're so easy. You're such a good dog. Oh, right, I'm so sorry. I did forget about something on the head. If your dog has very hairy ears, go ahead and strip them. I tend to scissor around my ears right before the show because I think it looks nicer. You don't have to. However, this little area, clip it. Or strip it if you want, but I scissor it or clip it. Tight as it can go. Because, again, that helps with the expression of the dog. It helps the ears lay nice and flat. And it really creates a nice expression. So sorry, same thing on this side. I can't believe I missed that. Oops. Now, when you're scissoring these, you don't go onto the head. We're not going onto the head. We're just doing the ear corner here. And then anything that's here, you can cut it or strip it. But you can, if the video quality was nice, which I'm hoping it will be, you can see the difference that makes in her head. Okay, so now we've got, I don't know, an hour before we go in the ring. She's been bathed, she's been blow dried, let's pretend, and now we are ready to start getting ready to go into the ring. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put her products in. I'm going to make that into a different video because I know some people don't use products, some do, so I'll make a new video.